Hello everyone, it's Mr. Han. I'm sitting here in my basement. I just wanted to put together a little video for you to kind of give you an overview of Spanish and the things you need to bring, the expectations in the class, how we're going to break down the grades in the class, how we're going to prepare for tests and quizzes, and how we're going to use the online textbook and the online workbook. So first thing, I want everybody to be aware of exactly what they need to have for class every single day. And the very first thing you need to have is your textbook. So I'm going to jump down here and get that. Here's what it looks like. Así se dice. Okay? Maybe you've seen these around in the previous years, but this is your textbook. You need this every single day. The other thing that you need is your workbook. It looks very similar, except that it is not a hardback book. Okay, this is like a paperback, so you will need this every day as well. Also, you need a writing utensil. Now, this counts as a writing utensil, and the reason why, it is a sharpened pencil. Non-sharpened pencils do not count. That would mean that you are unprepared for class if you do not have some kind of writing utensil, be it a sharpened pencil like this or a pen. I'm sorry, but an unsharpened pencil would mean that you are unprepared for class. You need to consider that the pencil sharpener is actually broken as soon as the bell rings. Please understand that. Finally, the last thing that you will need every day is your laptop. You have to have that. We are going to use it probably 80% of the days, if not more, in our classroom. That's just the way we do things. So I want to review the four things that you need every single day. Your textbook, your workbook, and a writing utensil, be it a pencil like this that is sharpened or a pen. Okay, we're going to move on to the next thing. All right, so here's how things are going to break down in the class. First of all, in the grades, one of the things you're always going to kind of want to be aware of is how much does each particular part of the class contribute to the overall grade. And here's how we get that in Spanish. 35% of your grade is going to be straight coming from your chapter tests. Okay, 30% of your grade is going to be coming directly from quizzes. And quizzes is where you're going to see a lot of your assessments coming. Okay, 20% is homework. Now homework is going to be, could be various things. Could be doing an exercise straight out of the textbook, having it complete for the next day. But it's just going to be something a lot of times where I'm not really going to be making sure that you have every single one right. I want to make sure that you are completing it and that you're making attempts, and that when you have problems, you're asking questions and trying to figure out the right answer. How did we get the right answer? And if you're confused, that you ask those questions in class, you raise your hand, and you engage in class. Okay? Now, 15% of your grade is also going to be online assignments. And what I want to say about that is that these are going to come from what's called the eStudio portion of your online textbook. Okay, so this is something that when we get to this point in the year, all of you are going to have a login and a password, and I'm going to show you later on in this video kind of how to get there, and then how you will make sure that assignments are completed and how you'll do all those things. But 15% of your grade will come from those online assignments. The great thing about the online assignments is you'll be able to just look back and forth from your online textbook and your online workbook, and that can give you help to complete them correctly. Okay, so then each chapter in the book. The very beginning of each chapter is learning the vocabulary that is necessary for that particular theme. And it's going to begin with two different vocabulary sections. And what we'll do is we'll go through it like this. We'll learn the first set of vocabulary. We'll take some time with it. We'll have a quiz on it. And then we'll go into vocabulary 2. Take some time with that, learn that vocabulary, practice. We will take a quiz on that. then we'll really be prepared to get ready for this grammar portion of the chapter. We'll be using a lot of this vocabulary when we're learning this grammar. So depending on the chapter, there could be between 2 and 4 different grammar topics that the chapter is going to cover. And what you're going to find is that these are going to be typically shorter quizzes because they're going to only be hitting like one particular thing in the chapter, one particular portion of grammar. So while there may be more of these quizzes in a given chapter, they're going to be shorter. Finally, once we've completed all of that and we've done some review for the entire chapter, then we'll have one chapter test. Now here's one thing I want you to really, really clearly understand, and that is, because there's only one chapter test, this is going to have a big effect on your grade. Okay? We're only going to be doing 6 chapters this year. Okay? So that means that each one of those tests is going to have a major impact on your grade. So you need to really be prepared, and you really need to make sure that you know the information, and if you don't, you come and see me and we work these things out together. All right, so one of the things that we're going to be using to kind of keep track of all of our assignments and our tests and quizzes is iCal. We don't have an assignment notebook this year, so we kind of have to learn how do we deal with an assignment notebook that is essentially electronic now. And so here's how that's going to happen. Let's say that on a given day, I don't know, the 17th of August, we have a test. Excuse me, not a test, but a homework assignment. So if I want to do a new assignment and I'm in, say, Spanish 2, then I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to double click here, and it will say new event, and I'll say the assignment is page 342, exercise A, due Thursday. And I can change this however I want to. I can make this what's called an all-day thing. And then I'll click done, and this will kind of tell me, okay, this is what I have to do. Now, if I change this and don't make it all day, I'm going to be able to see more of this assignment here, okay? Now, some of you may decide, well, I would rather have that here because it's due Thursday. That part of this whole thing is up to you, okay? In order to create a new event, all you need to do is double click on the date that this is going on, and then it will go in there. Or you can also just do File, New Event, and it will bring that up as well, okay? Now, here's what I will be doing kind of for you this year. Let's say, for example, that we have a test on August 31st. I'm going to just write in Spanish 2 Chapter 6 test. Now that I have written that here on my iCal, we are going to set it up so that you will then also immediately see it on your iCal. And here's how that's going to work, okay? What you're essentially going to do is subscribe to a calendar, okay? And the way that you do that is if you click up here on calendar and you click subscribe, it's going to ask you to enter the URL of the calendar you want to subscribe to. Well, you're probably saying to yourself, well, where is that URL? And that's a pretty simple thing to do. So then what you're going to do is go into my website, which, let me bring that back up here real quick. It's www.mrhahn.net. That's MRHAHN.net. So we go there, and if you're a 7th grader, this right here is what you're going to highlight all of it. You're going to copy it. You can do that by either clicking Command-C or by going to Edit, Copy. Then we're going to go back into iCal, and we're going to paste, which is either by going into Edit Paste or by doing Command V. And then that is going to let you subscribe to that calendar. And it's going to ask you some things. How do you want this to work? You're just going to leave it as is. And then you're probably going to want it to say yes, auto refresh, and probably do it every 5 minutes, maybe every 15 minutes, according to how often you think there might be changes to this. So we're going to click OK, and then it's done. So you'll see here that Spanish, it's created a second one for me. It's not going to do quite the same thing for you. You will actually eventually see a whole bunch of, you'll start to see things on your iCal that are coming from me. They will automatically pop up for you as soon as I put them on and you've refreshed. But we will do this together in class. We'll make sure to get this all set up. But what's going to happen is when we have a test or a quiz or something important coming up, I'm going to put that down on my iCalendar or my iCal. And then when your iCal has refreshed, it will show up on yours as well, provided that you have your subscription to my calendar checked over here. So the first thing I want to kind of show you about what we're going to be doing in class and what you're going to use for quite a bit of what we do each day is the website. And the way that you can find that is just by going to mrhahn.net. That is mrhahn.net. And this is all you'll ever really need to remember in terms of getting to the site. So you click on that, and it's going to change. It'll change the URL, but just remember, if you just type in mrhahn.net, that'll get you to where you need to be. So as we're looking at this, you're going to notice a couple of things. First of all, if you're one of my 7th grade students, most of your information is going to be located over here in this column. And over here for your 8th graders, your stuff is going to be in this column. A couple of links I want you to be kind of aware of here. First off, if you don't remember the URL for Family Access, for getting into Skyward, it's always right here. I'm going to leave that link right here so that if you ever need to, you can get right in to Skyward from my website. At the same time, there's a link right here for the eStudio website. This is the website that will get you to the online textbook and the online workbook. And there's a lot of things we're going to be doing in here as well, so you're going to want to keep this link handy, and it's right here on the website. So let's kind of take you through some of the links that you see up here at the top. First off, over the course of the previous year, I created a lot of documents, a lot of links that you're going to be using throughout this year. So let's say that you're an 8th grade student. You're going to be able to find a lot of the chapter documents, a lot of different things that I've created over the past few years right in here. So oftentimes, when coming from this site right here, I'm going to say, go to mrhahn.net. Then I'm going to ask you to go into chapter documents. And I might say, I want you to open up the one that under chapter 7 says Spanish 2, 11, 12, 10.doc. You'll click on that, and you'll be given an option on what to do here. And you can just tell it open with, and of course you guys will have the opportunity to open it with either Microsoft Word or with the new Apple iWorks application that we have, which is Pages. So we'll give the computer a second here, and it will open up that file. And you'll see the assignment I'd kind of like you guys to do. Now, what you'll find is that actually quite a few of these I will ask you to open in Word, for the reason of Word has an option that will allow you to put your answers in one specific box, and the box will move, but the text around it will not, and that's kind of preferable to completing the assignment that way. So we'll back out of Pages here, and we're back into this set of documents. We're going to refer back to this quite a bit throughout the year. At the same time, we're going to go and we're going to look at this this page here that says 8th grade Quizlet links. So if I click on that, you're going to find that there are a lot of links here. And so here's what we do with these for the most part throughout the class. As I said before, there's going to be at least two there are going to be 2 vocabulary quizzes per chapter, and between 2 and 4 grammar quizzes per chapter. So what you're going to find here is that in each one of these chapters there's going to be at the very least your 2 vocabulary sets, and they're always going to be listed first. So you're going to use these to practice for these vocabulary quizzes. So what we're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to click on the Chapter 6 Vocabulario Uno that says Quizlet here. And so I'm going to give you a little training on how Quizlet works. So for 8th graders, this is going to be the very first set of vocabulary that you're going to be required to learn. And you'll notice as we go down here that there are 25 terms. The terms are Spanish, the definitions are English. So you're going to need to learn how to spell each and every one of these. Spell it correctly, because that's how the assessment is going to be. So I'm going to kind of take you through some of the study modes and the games that they have in order to prepare yourself for the vocabulary quizzes. So the one that I actually like the most is probably this space race that you see down here. And the reason for that is you're going to see that the words are going to be coming from left to right, and you have to come up with the correct answer and write it in here. So you're going to see the word to have success. Well, you're going to have to write this in, and you're going to notice that I'm missing an accent here. I didn't get it right, so I have to write it in with the accent, and there I get it. Then good mood is de buen humor. And you'll notice that if you let it go long enough and you don't actually have the correct answer, what's going to happen is it will force you to write the correct answer in, which will help you to practice. Now the nice thing about this is that you can play this for as long as you want until the words start coming too fast and you can't keep up. But the great thing about that is you're going to practice the words over and over and over and over. You'll be ready for the quiz. So we'll go back to the set page here. And then another one of the games is called Scatter. We see it right here. And so the way that this game is played is it's going to literally scatter a whole bunch of words out here, some in English, some in Spanish. So all you'll have to do is take one, drag it onto its opposite language counterpart. So I'll take patience, put it on paciencia. You'll notice if I make a mistake, it will just throw that back around. The trick here is that you want to do this as quickly as you can. It's recording your time right up here. So eventually, when you get through all of them, you'll notice when you get to the end here that you'll get something that shows you the amount of time that it took you and then where you are as far as the high scores. So we'll go back to the set page, and one of the modes that's pretty popular as far as studying is this Learn, where they'll just give you a word and you'll try and put the correct one in. So I'm going to put in ambicioso, and it tells me that's correct. Press any key, and then I'll write in this. I'm going to misspell it on purpose, and then it will highlight for me exactly the mistake that I made. I'll keep putting these in, and this is kind of how a lot of people like to learn all the words first, and then they sometimes go in and they play scatter or they play space race. A lot of people like to go through the entire set first before they try any new games. So we go back to the set page one more time, and then this is the way that I kind of like to show students to assess whether or not they're ready for the quiz. So if you go into test here, all of my quizzes for vocabulary are going to be of this form, where you're going to be given the English word and then you're going to have to write the Spanish word. So the way to make that work out for the entire quiz is to do this. You uncheck everything except written, and then you reconfigure this to make it all available terms. And then you're going to find that they give you the whole quiz just written. So I'll do one of these, and then I'll just go ahead and check answers, and it will give you an actual percentage here and a letter grade to tell you what you got on this actual quiz. And this is essentially a really good way to study and to make sure that you're prepared for the quiz, because this is the exact format that you will see when we actually take quizzes in vocabulary. Alright, so we're going to come back here into the original flashcard set site, and there's one other feature I just want to let you know about, and this is called Speller. And this is kind of a new thing. So they're going to give you a word in Spanish, and they're going to try and pronounce it, and they're going to ask you to spell it. You might notice, however, that the actual pronunciation isn't always that great.
Sentido de humor.
So some of the words that are similar in English are going to actually be pronounced in English. So this may not work so well for you, at least in terms of this class, but it might be something that you can use in another class if you want to learn to create your own Quizlet. So now we're going to go back into the original website, mrhan.net, and we're going to start kind of show you a little bit about the eStudio website. So if we click on that, it's going to ask us to log in. Now you're going to be coming to this site quite a bit because it's going to have your online textbook and your online workbook. So I have my own kind of fake student login and password that I'm going to use here. And this is essentially what you will see. You will see that you are in a particular period. It'll show you what you have available to you. You'll have the ebook, you'll have the e-workbook, and a couple of other things here that we won't quite use as much. If you look down here at the ebook, it will take you to kind of a setup so that you can see everything in the book. You can just go to a particular page. I'll just put a random one in, and it will take you to that page. And there's a lot in here that you can do. A lot of this is interactive.
La playa. El balneario.
And you'll be able to hear the actual words pronounced for you. If, however, you'd rather look and say, okay, well, I know that we're in Chapter 2, you can click there. You know that we're still in vocabulary. You can click there, and you can even say, okay, I know we're in vocabulary 2. And that will bring you to the proper page. And you'll be able to see all of the images and essentially everything that you see in your actual physical textbook, you'll be able to see here online as well. Okay. If we go back here and click on My Tools, if we go into the workbook and audio activities, you'll see that you can get into your workbook as well. So if I go into Capítulo 2, workbook, this is the stuff that you see in your actual physical workbook. And what I think you're going to find is that we're going to go back and forth and use some things in the workbook, the actual workbook, and some we're going to use the online workbook. Okay? All right, finally, one thing that I want you to know about is this My Tools here. If you click on assignments, you're going to be able to see any of the assignments that have been assigned by me for you. So right now we just happen to be in chapter 2. None of these have been assigned because I haven't assigned them to you. But what you'll see is that if it has been assigned, you'll get a little check mark here and it will tell you if you have completed it or not. I'll go into this a little bit more in the future, but if it said assigned here, you could simply click on this. It would take you to that particular assignment. Once you finish it, you submit answers and you have then completed that assignment. So we'll do a lot more of this as the year goes on, and we will talk about how we're going to get in and do those assignments. But you'll notice that one of the things that we're going to be doing this year is that the things that we see on eStudio are going to be a part of your grade. We'll talk more about that in class and how you can get there. But I do want you to be aware of that if you click on My Tools and you go into Results, that will show you, okay, here is what your current score is as far as eStudio. Anything that I've assigned, this thing will score it automatically. And then I'm going to take this number and that will become your grade for that percentage of your final grade that eStudio takes up. So that's the eStudio website. I know that this was pretty short, but this is something that we will use quite a bit in class. Just to give you a little heads up, you can also click on these grammar videos tabs and they will give you some videos here on some of the different grammar topics that we're covering in the class, so that if you miss something, this will go back and you can go over it. All you need is an internet connection, your computer, and you can look at these. So that's it. Hopefully you've got an overview of what we're going to be doing in class this year. I'm going to place this video up on my website so that everybody can get back and look at it if they need to. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks. Adios.